So I've got two of my L260s that are starting to come out pretty regularly. And I'm still not able to tell male, female, but I'm starting to see some. Either they're so hungry that it's worth it for them to risk coming out into the open, or, which is more likely to me, they've started to become comfortable with this tank. Now this is the same L260 that I've been catching out when I turn out the tank lights and the room lights are still on, but I get such lousy video recordings of a tank lights out that I'm starting to catch this L260 out. This one has spent a lot of time going in and out of caves, and I notice a pretty heavy belly on it. I'm beginning to suspect that this is a female. I don't know. There's no odontals for me to see at this point. This female is still probably 2.5, maybe almost 3 inches, if it is indeed a female. But I just thought I'd let the camera run a while and see if we could catch some activity with the tank lights on. I say female because I think it's the females that choose the caves. And this one has spent a lot of time in several of these different caves that I have. Seems to spend an awful lot of time around this one specifically. I guess the 3-inch PVC pipe creates a nice little cave alongside the rock. And when I put this stack together, I pushed this piece of PVC all the way to the back of the tank and left it sticking out. I kind of had in my mind when I first cut these 3-inch pieces of PVC, and I cut several of them, that if I had any kind of cichlids, like a teleocicla or a 4-spot Satanoperkia, that they might make use of 3-inch caves. But as soon as I made my own caves, I decided that I would leave this one in here because it's wedged between these two large pieces of rock, and stick a cave inside of it to try to give any L260 fry that I might get a place that's safe, a place that's free from predators hanging over top of them. I've started feeding frozen Repashy pretty regularly now, the insectivore. That lights out, and this fish seems to particularly enjoy it and be willing to risk the open area of the sand to get to it. I don't know whether it's slowly building comfort. I've seen lots of YouTube videos where everybody's L260s are just all over the tank and they don't seem to mind being out in the open. But the 6 that I have stayed almost exclusively out of sight. Now, 2 of them that I got from Discus Origins are wild caught, and they are the older ones. And I think that this one is one of the ones that I got from Discus Origins. So a wild-caught L260 is probably going to be more likely to stay out of sight. But the 4 juveniles that I got from Leisure Man, they don't come out either. Now I know Leisure Man was not feeding Rapace, but one of the smaller ones, which I assume is one of my juveniles from Leisure Man, is also coming out hunting this Rapace when it goes in the water. I guess it's a process of them having stripped all the rock work in the tank down to the point where they're actually getting so hungry that they're willing to risk being out in the open to come get it. Like I said, this one seems to particularly enjoy this cave, this 3-inch piece of PVC, and that slot between the rock and the PVC. And I have caught her, I'm saying tentatively, in almost every cave that I put in the tank. So, to me, she's going around and testing out these caves to see which one she likes best. This is potential breeding behavior. Now it may be a male. My eyes are so bad at this point that I can't really get a close enough view without them skittering away to really see. Now if I shine a flashlight on this one, it'll disappear instantly. So it's really hard for me to get a good ID. I've studied a lot of pictures of L260s online and in different forums, and it strikes me that the females are much wider from a top view and that their tail quickly tapers off to being very narrow, and that males are not so wide in the middle and that their tails slowly taper off, so that a female will be much wider and much narrower at the tail, and the male will be much narrower and then slowly sloping off at the tail from a top view. And this fish is new to me in the sense that I've not spent years and years observing them or their behaviors. So I'm learning as I go here. I'm hoping to create a situation where they will breed and their fry will survive. But it's just like any new fish. If you have not been able to study the fish for a long time, you're learning as you go by observation. And that's the process that I'm in with these fish. I'm working very hard to create a situation where I feel like they have the things they need and they have the water conditions that they're comfortable with, and everything else is just nature. Most of the advice I have seen online and on good forums by people who I respect and trust have said to put the flashlight down. Do not shine a light on these fish and disturb their normal behaviors. Now I've done it. I've been so worried about their health and safety that I've gone around looking for them many times, trying to locate where they're staying. And for a while I had in my head to get this Texas Holy Rock out of the tank. So I wanted to spot where they were and catch them out of the Holy Rock and remove the Holy Rock. But it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. I know where 5 of them stay pretty regularly. But the 6th one, I have no idea where it is. I haven't seen it or haven't been aware that I've seen it since it went in the tank. From the health of the others, I'm not particularly concerned with its well-being, although I think that I'm beginning to see evidence of this fish not finding food waiting in the tank regularly now and starting to come out in search of food and looking for my massive or delight pellets when I drop them in, or these chunks of frozen rapashi that I've been using. When I first started, they wouldn't touch any of those things, but now they're starting to. I watched this particular fish fight a whole school of lemon tetras for a Massivore Delight pellet about a week ago with the main tank lights out. This fish is getting hungry enough to start to look outside of its normal bounds for food. There's another one that lives very close here, and I've watched the two of them interact, but the other one is one of the juvenile F1s that I got from Leisureman on Aquabids. I got all of these L260s on Aquabids. And it's much smaller and much less likely to be sexually mature. So the interaction between them was kind of a non sequitur. They really didn't interact in a way that I would call breeding behavior. They didn't fight, but they didn't really go through anything I would recognize as breeding behavior. So this is just a quick update on the L260s with the tank lights on, as opposed to tank lights off and terrible video. Good luck, YouTube.